Yo! So, basically, you know that last video I put out, the solar one with Titan, where you just spam everything? Yeah, this is like the equivalent of that. Like, pretty much the exact same thing, except it's void. In fact, in some cases, I'd argue that it is the exact same thing, just without all the solar spinning stuff everywhere on the map. Because, of course, Titans would be able to do that instead of the Warlocks, but we're not here to talk about that. Instead, we're here to talk about the Nezarec Sin with the Deathbringer. And the main thing about this setup is that we are going to be producing Warmind cells with Void. We no longer need to do it with Solar or Icolos weapons because of this bad boy right here, Warmind's Decree. Void splash damage final blows have a chance to create Warmind cells. So basically, with this setup, our main objective is to create as many Warmind cells as we can possibly make with as much Void splash damage that we can throw at our enemies. So basically, what that means, we want every single aspect of our setup to be Void that we possibly can. Our heavy, our secondary, and of course our subclass. Now with this setup, we're also going to be getting our abilities back 24/7 because of Nezarec Sin and its intrinsic perk, or armor perk rather. Void damage kills increase ability energy recharge rate, so that's another plus to running everything Void with this setup. Now alongside the Nezarec Sin, we are going to be using the bottom tree Voidwalker. Now you can actually go top tree if you want. It honestly depends on the playstyle that you want to go. If you want to go like a tank, a healing regenning tank, then I highly suggest going bottom tree because Devour is semi-broken, but I digress. If you want to go max DPS with your super, in fact, then I would highly suggest going top tree. We can get our super back extremely fast depending on the amount of enemies in any activity. So if you want to spam these heavy duty spherical nukes, then go top tree. If you want to be a healing non-killable soldier, then go bottom tree, or a wizard rather. I'm sorry, I'm very sorry. Now we're gonna get to the juicy stuff, the mods. So alongside Warmind's Decree, which we already went over, Void Splash Damage creates Warmind Cell mods, we are going to be using a global reach. So our Warmind Cells are tactical nukes, much like the other build. By the way, the mods for this build are very similar to the other video, which I highly recommend checking out if you haven't already. But anyway, getting back to this, no more sidetracks. Global reach, Warmind Cells you create affect and damage greater target. What? Warmind Cells you create affect and damage targets at a greater distance. Now alongside global reach, as well as Warmind's Decree, which are our only two Warmind Cell mods, by the way, in this build, we are going to be using Firepower, Blast Radius, and Argent Ordnance. Blast Radius, we get Charge of Light from getting rapid kills with a grenade launcher and rocket, which we both have in this setup, and Argent Ordnance is going to be capitalizing on those Charge of Light stacks and increasing our rocket launcher damage. It will get rid of the Charge of Light stacks once we deal damage to any enemy in anywhere. Really, I don't know where I was going with that. And that leaves us up to our last mod, which is honestly up for debate. You can switch this around however you choose. I, for one, went for Firepower, just because I want to get my grenades back even faster, even though I already have Devour, so, because yeah, my brain works just perfectly. And what Firepower does is while Charge of Light, regain a portion of your grenade energy when you use your grenade, consuming 1 stack of Charge of Light. Now this mod does stack, but I don't really think it's necessary. And some other mods that you can actually replace this with is, of course, Hammer of the Warmind, if you really want to deal with champions easier. Another great mod that you can actually switch this with is called Energy Converter. While Charge of Light, using your grenade attack grants you super energy, so if you want to go with more the super route, then Energy Converter is what you want to go with. And honestly, just because there's so many Warmind cells that we generate with this setup, I would argue that running Power of Rasputin would be a good one to run as well. You gain a bonus to weapon damage against enemies that are near Warmind cells. Now if you saw the gameplay earlier, there was Warmind cells literally everywhere, but that is only if there is a significant amount of enemies, so that is definitely a mod that you would want to consider as well. Anyway, those were just some ideas. You can honestly switch Firepower for whatever you want. It's honestly up to you, personal preference. Now moving on to weapons, are the main things that I want to note is our grenade launcher alongside our rocket launcher, the Deathbringer, the main aspect of our whole setup. By the way, this thing is absolutely absurd. It does so much work in PvE content. Against normal ads, ad clear, absolutely disgusting. Against bosses, absolutely disgusting. Plus, with this mod that I didn't even mention, breach and clear, for going against bosses or champions, makes dealing with them so much easier. It not only reloads your rocket launcher for you when you shoot it and it's stowed, it also reduces their defenses and weakens the enemies, just so your Deathbringer can do even more damage. So I would highly recommend looking into getting breach and clear as well. Anyway, that's besides the point. Deathbringer is amazing, breach and clear is amazing. Run those two together. And that leaves us with actually our grenade launcher. I know it's not the best in the world, definitely not the best in the world, but it gets the job done. We just need something void and a grenade launcher. I have an Ore Wings Maul right here as well with quick draw auto loading, max velocity. I love this thing, it's beautiful by the way, but it does not have as much splash damage as I would like it to have, unlike the Deafening Whisper. The Deafening Whisper can clear ads very fast and it can generate Warmind cells at a very rapid pace. So this is why I'm using it. And of course, our primary is just whatever we need it to be, depending on what activity we're doing. If we need to deal with barrier, we have our auto. If we need to deal with overload, we have our hand cannon. If we need to deal with unstoppable, we have our grenade launcher, and we don't need to worry about our primary. So honestly, it's up for debate for whatever you want. And with that being said, no, stats. I can't forget stats. I have 100 discipline just so we can get max returns on our grenade from the devour procs on every kill that we get. We get more grenade energy, the more discipline we have. So of course, I'm maxing it out. Other stats that you can focus in is of course recovery, just because you're a warlock. And if you want, you can go into intellect as well. But if you really want to go into intellect, I'd highly recommend just going into font of wisdom instead, just so you don't have to waste any stats being put into intellect. Also, putting it into strength, not really necessary, but you can if you want. Anyway, I would just recommend going into discipline and recovery. But once again, completely up to you. And with that being said, that is going to be the end of the video. That is all I got for the setup. It's honestly beautiful. It gets the job done in nearly every activity in the game. I am most likely going to bring this setup as well as my Solar Titan build video that I posted last time. Either one of those I'm going to be bringing into the raid, although I really want to bring Hunter, but of course my Hunters, they just don't have the same ad clear that Warlocks and Titans do, so probably not going to bring them. We'll see though. Anything could happen. Anyway, next video will most likely either be another Warlock video or a Hunter video with the new pieces of boats, exotics, but we shall see. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video.